We in? We cut? We're ready to go? What's up, guys? Check this out. Michael Ray Newman here. Welcome to the Inside Edge. I got my partner, right-hand strongman, Edwin Britt from North Carolina. He's in Texas, and we're loving life. And we got Kevin E., the Monster Millennials, always dropping knowledge on us. What up, Kevin E.?
What's up, fellas?
Yeah, pretty cool. Check this out. I got something real quick from my son-in-law sent me things, and it said, man, talk about proof of what you're doing matters after you're gone. And they took this theologian out. You need to listen to this. We need to post this, Kevin. You make a note. We'll post this on the podcast.
You got it.
It's a podcast, and I'm not sure who it's from, but I will tell you this dude, he's credited with being the greatest theologian and greatest academician that the United States has ever produced. He was the first president of Yale. He's largely known as governed his life on these set of resolutions. So he had a set of resolutions. He had a process, Edwin. He had something he committed to. He stayed with it and worked it, which we're going to talk about a little bit about that. They're incredible as well, so I want you guys to go check them out. And they traced his lineage back to see what his family looked like after he was gone. And we say sometimes that the pebble's more powerful, the ripple's more powerful than the pebble, or the pebble's more powerful than the ripple. That's a ancient Chinese proverb, something like that. Check it out. And there was another common criminal at the same time that lived at the same time he did. They traced his as well. And listen to the differences, man. It talks about he's got congressmen, they got presidents, they have these millionaires out of this lineage this one old boy had. And the other dude, man, it was like, you know, your environment, the people you circle and surround yourself with. And if you're always, I say this, if my parents would have kept me in West Texas in the trailer park, I'd always been in the trailer park. So all I saw, you don't compare yourself and covet those things that they have. But I want you guys to go out, put your kids and your grandkids in a position to see things that can be better. There is a better way. And something that I always do for all my kids, I've done this. I think I told you one time that when they're senior in high schools, when they're leaving, they're top of the world, man. They're like the athlete. They've been the captains of their teams. They have like ruled the school. You know, they feel like they're like just the owners. And we take a big old hot air balloon up, and I fly it over the stadium and over the school and over the town. And it's just me and them up there. And I did it with Presley, and I did it with Trent, my oldest. And, man, when I took it with my son, my daughter, my youngest, Lily, she's 16 now, junior in high school, and she bawled because she couldn't go. She was so mad. So she talked about her life getting in the balloon. But she didn't know what I say. I said, this is your town. You've worked hard. This is what you've done, what you've been able to accomplish because of the effort that you put into it. And you have to have those things. And we're going to give you guys something today. I think it's really powerful and cool. But also what I do when we're going over there, when we're up in the hot air balloon, at some point I say, I want you to look out as far as you can see. What do you see? Oh, it's huge. It's so big. The world is so much bigger than where you are. Give yourself. Do it for yourself. You got a carpe diem, baby. Get on the table and look at a different angle. Show yourself a different possibility. Look at what's really out there. Stretch yourself. Challenge yourself, which we'll talk about that in another podcast. Edwin Britt, you talk about the whatever it takes. WIT is what we live. And you can see here, I got my little WIT, Life by Design. We have a coaching platform called Life by Design. If you don't design your own life and have a process and a plan to get to where you want to be spiritually, mentally, physically, personally, with your family, with your career, and with your business, somebody else is going to come along and you're going to be building their career. You're going to be building their empire, building their family. You guys got to get the personal development in. You got to call it. You got to get in front of us. Go to our edgeglobalinc.net, inc.net, edgeglobalinc.net. Get our virtual training, Mindset of a Champion, that we go and travel around. Edwin, we teach it. A cultural development that raises all boats. A rising tide raises all boats for leadership and sales training, operational, everything. You guys need to get in it, get on tight with this, because if you're not getting it from somewhere, you don't have to always get it here, guys, but go and pour into yourself, because you can't be the best person you can be unless you really take care of yourself if you want to help everybody else. And here's why I say, people, in the very beginning of this, make this podcast about you. Make the things we talk about you. And WIT, I've been living that since I first found out I was going to have my first baby girl, and Kevin E's about to have his, but that's been many, many years ago since when that happened. But whatever it takes, Edwin, and I know you do that on a day-to-day basis, and kind of shared something with me a while ago. I want you to tell the audience what you were doing.
Yeah, Michael, one of many things we share in common is being a dad, right? More than anything, you and I love being a dad, and you do whatever it takes. And so I was sharing with you what Monday looked like. You know, it's a journey, right, guys, for us all. So Monday morning I left my house and
living it.
I live on the beach in North Carolina. Did I tell anybody that I live on the beach in North Carolina?
Yeah.
And anyway, left the house.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. Left the house just a little bit after the sun had risen, and I drove 3.5 hours to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is pretty much a direct west drive. and I'm working along the way. So I'm coaching people in 30-minute increments as I'm driving these 3.5 hours, which is not bad because it makes the time go by faster.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
But you're double dueling, right?
Multitasking.
You're driving, and of course I was hands free. I mean, I wasn't hands free driving. I was hands free on my phone. But
Not
you're
yet.
also concentrating. And I got there, did something for my oldest daughter, picked up her dog. Then I drove all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina. So 3.5 hours to Charlotte, 2.5 hours to Raleigh. Again, coaching all the way on the interstate, navigating around trucks and traffic and all of that. Got there, saw my youngest daughter for a few minutes, dropped off the dog, spent a couple minutes with her, picked up lunch, went to my next daughter, my middle daughter, who happens to live in Raleigh as well, changed cars with her because she needed me to take her car back, and then circled all the way back to Wilmington, North Carolina. I was back home before 5 o'clock, drove over 600 miles, and coached 9 people. And, of course, when I got there, my wife said, hey, you need to pull some weeds in the grass and outside, and the trash needs to come out, and let's exercise, right?
Just when you start feeling good about yourself, you take a deep breath. Man, I got some stuff done today. I'm going to relax and watch that sunset over at the beach, and I'm going to have a little cold cocktail.
I
Guess
didn't do
what?
any of that.
No. Then 10:30, you finally got in the shower.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
whatever it takes. And whatever it takes, man, I always say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. What are you doing today? Whatever it takes. When I get challenged, when I get hammered, I don't care what life brings, you got to do whatever it takes. And I had somebody come to me one time and say, oh, whatever it takes, man. I mean, that could be like you could do some underhanded stuff, or you could do whatever that's going to hurt other people. No, man, you got to, whatever it takes within the realm of being the best person you can be, making sure that it's ethical, make sure that's honest, and make sure that you lead with that gratitude. But people know when it's time, it's go time, baby. Whatever it takes is what we're going to do to make it right. And we have a process. We have a plan for that. And when I finally validated, I've educated and validated, and on this podcast, you've heard me say this a lot if you're new to us, but you will educate or validate everything you do in your whole entire life. When you step up and go to somewhere to learn anything, you educate or validate. Educate simple, hey, I learned something, it's pretty cool. Validate is powerful because validation, you're like, oh, I do that. Sometimes you're like, get proud of it, because when somebody like Edwin tells you something that he does and you put that same kind of work in, you have that similar story, that makes you feel good. But also validation is negative. When you do something negative that we do to get a negative result, you're like, oh man, I knew that, but I've been starting to do that again. I'm catching myself do that. But to be able to, the plan and the process, when I learned that through Edwin these last 7 years, as he and I have traveled all over North America, and we've been able to speak to thousands and thousands of, tens of thousands of people now, man. It's really, I mean, I've never thought in my entire life I'd be able to be sitting here with you right now and do this. But I want you guys to know that there is a process, there is a plan, and it's super important to take different angles to look at that thing, Edwin.
Yeah, and everybody can do what I'm about to share.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody can do this. No matter where you are in your business, in your life, you can apply this, and you should, to your business, to your personal life, to your physical life. I want to give you 3 words, and you need to be doing this. And as we record this, we're doing this in the fall of the year. It's a wonderful time to do it, but any time of the year, it's a great time to do this, and allows you to reset, refocus, restructure, and relaunch. I want you to take these 3 words and let them resonate with you. Meaningful, measurable, and manageable. Kevin and Michael, meaningful, measurable, and manageable. Those words should resonate with everybody. And take the things that you love to do, and I want you to concentrate this in an 8-week window. And I love this time of the year. I love the fall and football, and looking at it from, in this case, Labor Day to Halloween. What happened if for 8 weeks you put an intentional focus on business development activities, as an example, that you love to do and you're really good at, and you focused on the process, not the end result, really intentionally? I can tell you what it sets you up to do by doing that, and doing it this time of the year, taking meaningful activities, measuring them, in other words, elevating it. So if you do it 2 times a week, challenge yourself to do it 4 times a week. So pick 3 or 4 things that you love to do that are business development activities that are meaningful to your business, because you got to separate accomplishment from activity and do them for an extended period of time. Then pick something that you know you need to do that you haven't done. I need to do that. Implement that into your process. And again, take it up incrementally and commit to it for 8 weeks. Here's what will happen. At the end of that 8 weeks, especially if you're doing it between Labor Day and Halloween, remember, there's no bad time to do it. you will do something Michael and I talk about, and we'll be talking a lot more about in a future podcast. You will finish your year strong, and it'll serve as a catalyst for starting your year fast. You'll get more ups, you'll be further along, and you'll move that from off the ledger, oh, I needed to do this, that you've done it. In other words, something we've said many times, go as far as you can see. And hey, last thing, Michael, I'm going to hand it back. This is a non-negotiable. This happens no matter what happens. You are going to commit to 8 weeks of focusing on process. I started the year out doing that, and I focused on my physical, and I started measuring it. I measured what I ate. I drank a gallon of water every day. I stayed committed for 8 weeks, and 8 weeks later, Michael, 20 pounds of Edwin had left the building like Elvis. And as I sit here today now, 8 months later, I am still that same weight. That 22 pounds, now 22 pounds has still dropped off. And I love it, man, so you can repeat it, right?
That's right. You feel better, you sleep better, you act better. I mean, everything else just gets a little bit better when you do that kind of thing. If you can measure it, you can manage it. That's so important. And start off by having these. First thing he said, you guys got to write it down. Put it on your phone or write down a plan, a program. Go get something. Get the right kind of coaching to go. It's what he did. He reached out, and he got a process that he was following, and he got predictable results. And don't focus on what's the end in mind. He didn't focus on that. When he was trying to lose 20, when he was 3 pounds into it, he didn't look at the 17 he needed to lose. He may have thought about it, but what he took his eyes back to is what he could measure, what he could manage. And then he adjusted the plan as we went through that. And it's really awesome to see those results physically. But in your business, if you take those 3 words in your business and implement it and do it for 8 weeks and stay committed, and if it's not working, you go back and you measure it and you change the plan a little bit and you manage it. And within those 8 weeks, you will be at a different level. You'll also be able to run at a different level. You'll be able to consume things easier, faster in whatever vertical you're chasing, whether it be spiritually or mentally or, in your case, physically. In your career, with your family. Think about doing something for 8 weeks intentional to get a better relationship with your kids.
Michael, you talked about the number of people I have the privilege of coaching, and I've been coaching them to this theme. And sometimes when we hear that, people might say, oh, yeah, I know somebody that needs to do that. These underperformers, right? Yeah, boy, if so-and-so, if Sally would just do that. You got to look inward first. And what I've been energized by, it is the top performers in the industry that I coach in and specialize in coaching in. They're the ones embracing it and going, God, Edwin, I needed that so bad. I am in. It's the ones that are on the bottom you got to pull through, right? Oh, I don't know about that. You know, it shifts your focus on what you can control. And just to that point, quick difference between being committed to something and being interested. It's easy to be interested.
Let's go chicken or a pig, right?
Yes, right. Chicken or pig.
Who's more committed? Eggs and bacon. I'm sorry. I know I shot your wheels off. Who's more committed, chicken or the pig? Well, the chicken only gave you an egg. The pig gave up his life.
Yeah, the whole deal, yeah. Oh, man.
I'm sorry. Wheels are off the bus. I had to shoot off. What were you saying?
And I was going to have pork tacos tonight. You know?
I got something for you.
When you're committed, you find a way.
Yeah,
right?
think about that.
When you're
Whatever
interested,
it takes,
you find an excuse. And then second point to that, when you're committed, you do whatever it takes. And when you're interested, you do what is convenient. Ooh. Choose to do whatever it takes, man. You'll be glad you did.
Back that up. Say it again, because we're not going to edit anything.
Yeah. When you're committed, you do whatever it takes. When you're interested, you do what is convenient.
That's the path of least resistance is temporary. It's tomorrow. It's 30 minutes from now. It's an hour from now. It's a feel-good moment. But to do what's uncomfortable, instead of, hey, man, this weekend you want to go out and party? Don't do it. Put it down. You want to sit on the couch when you're super tired after coming in from a day like Edwin had, seeing the family, touching all aspects of his life because he's living it by design. He's living intentional, and Edwin's intentional about one thing, as you can tell this. It's about being intentional. He doesn't do what's easy. He does what is on the paper, what's on the path, and he's not afraid to pivot either. I've seen him go through, have this plan and come in there and find it better. And he's really good at upsetting your status quo. That's what you have to do to yourself, guys, is upset your status quo. And when you do that, you're open for learning, but more important, retention. You can retain things when you put yourself in an uncomfortable position to get better in whatever area of life that you want to see. Though that, Edwin, is such powerful what you said. That's why it's so important for you guys. Remember, at the beginning of this podcast, we said you got to make it about you, and then put this stuff in play. And if you'll do that, you'll be a better person 8 weeks from now than when you started. You can run faster, jump higher, be stronger in whatever vertical you're chasing, right?
That's right, man. You live with no regrets, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I promise you. I know what regret looks like, and you guys that know a little bit of my story and know what it's like. I mean, regret or satisfaction, which one you pick? Now, and regret is later in life, it's because you don't do what you need to do in the long run opposed to being comfortable. Man, great job, E.
Thanks, buddy.
If you can't think of anything else, guys, tonight, just go out and be nice, all right? To your wife, to your spouse, to your kids, to your husband, whatever you got going on, to the guy at the gas station, be nice. Because like my granny always told me, people don't remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. See ya.